Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a 1-hour glam transformation makeup tutorial. Lots of stuff that I may use off camera and I don't show on camera typically. Tips and tricks that I use to make my makeup look better, make it last longer. Just a go-to if I was going to a wedding or I was going out for the night or a concert. Really gonna push it full glam as if I had an hour to really get ready and do my makeup. I'm definitely one of those people that transforms. A lot of times you'll see people put full makeup on and they kind of look very similar. I go from like a potato to glam. So I know that I'm one of those people that looks completely different with makeup on, but I love it because I can kind of transform my look for whatever I'm feeling that day. So if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe. I do tons of first impressions, tons of hauls. I love seeing indie brands. I love seeking them out. I buy a ton of makeup, so if you want to see tons of different reviews, I think you would enjoy my channel. And without further ado, let's start the glam. So the first step is using a primer that's going to give me a little bit of dew. The foundation that I'm choosing today would be more of a long wearing foundation, full coverage. So I want something underneath that's going to give me some hydration. I'm going to go in with my NARS Radiance Primer. I really like this. It is very similar to the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Primer. It has kind of a little bit of a tint to it. And I'm just going to apply this all over my face because the foundation I'm using can be a little bit drying. So this is going to combat that. It's not going to make me oily, but it's going to give me a little bit of a radiance and make the foundation sit better on the skin and not be so drying where you can kind of get dry patches. So as you can see, I have a little bit of radiance and I like the way that it looks. It's like a light pink kind of shift. You can again mix this with BB cream for every day. It's just a go-to for me. Now I'm going to go in for a blurring primer in my T-zone. This is the Blurring Active Base from Guerlain. I've had this for a long time. I loved it, then I stopped using it, and now I'm loving it again. This is an interesting product because it's not the typical silicone. This almost feels like a sunscreen. But for some reason, it keeps me nice and I wouldn't say matte, but it helps with oil in your T-zone as well as pore smoothing. If you need more of like a radiance, I would recommend the Stellar Beauty Brilliant Primer. But if I'm going for a long wear, this has been kind of a favorite as of late. And again, I'm only applying this in my T-zone. So this next step is extra as hell, but I mean, we're doing a 1-hour glam, so why not? I'm gonna go in with the light shade in the Huda Beauty Tantour. This is a new product. I don't necessarily love it on the face, but I found a use for it. Now, if you've seen Tati and Scott Barnes do their collab, he is very heavy with bronzing the neck. I am going to do that because this is a full glam, and if you struggle with, you know, any kind of fat under your chin, hello, I do, or just wanting your jawline to be sharper for photos, or again, prom, whatever it may be, this is a great tip. So I'm gonna go in with the light one. I'm gonna use a flat brush. This is a Morphe M500. You can use really any brush. So I'm gonna go right under the jawline. So you're gonna put it under your jawline and then sweep downwards. Okay, so once you've applied it, you're gonna wanna sweep it down and kind of blend it in. This is really just going to slim and kind of chisel your jawline. Again, I wouldn't do this like if I was going to Walmart, you know what I mean? I mean, I guess you could. You can do whatever the hell you want. But I'm just saying, if you're taking photos, maybe you feel like you've eaten too much sodium, you feel like you got a little double chin going on, this is a great trick. So the next step that I like to do is take a bronzer. Again, this is if you self-tan or if you just feel like you're not matching perfectly. And I'm going to take it on a brush and just kind of fill in any areas down here that I feel like maybe aren't blending, or my neck looks a little bit darker than my chest. So I'm going to take a bronzer, you can use any bronzer, and just kind of sweep this over my chest to really tie in so it's going to match. Now I do self-tan my body, which is why my face looks so fair. I don't like to put self-tanner on my face because I can break out. Also because it can look kind of ruddy just because I have red skin. And I exfoliate and I use masks, so it just kind of comes off anyway. So it's just something that I never do. All right, so now that we have the kind of chiseled contour out, I'm going to start with my foundation. I'm going to go into Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. This is a very, very good foundation. Again, it can be a little bit drying, so if you've used it and you thought, wow, that looks pretty dry, try to use some dewy products with it. I think you'd really enjoy it. I have the shade number 10 here, which is a little bit dark, but again, it's going to match what I have going on my chest. I also really like this applicator because I don't have to get it on my hands. I would say this is a comparable foundation to the Estee Lauder Double Wear, something of that kind of realm. I couldn't think of a word there, but this is a little bit more coverage. So I'm just gonna start buffing this in. You can use any kabuki brush. You can also use a beauty blender, really whatever your preference is. I find this foundation lasts very well on my skin, and also it's quite smoothing, which is why I really like it. So as you can see, I'm matching my chest and neck now, but I want to add a little bit of brightness. Again, we're going to kind of highlight areas that we want to come forward, contour, so it'll all kind of come together because right now I have a blank canvas. I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape. This is a staple concealer for me. I don't actually like to apply a ton because I find that my pores will look enlarged. So I just like to put a little bit right under the eye like that. I have the shade light medium. Sometimes I'll go in with light sand if I am a little bit more fair or on the light spectrum. And I'm just gonna use my beauty blender to blend this in. I like it that it's smoothing, it has a good full coverage, I don't have to work hard. This tends to be a really nice eyeshadow base as well. And I feel like I got enough brightness under there, but it's not white. It doesn't look like a white cast or too harsh. So to set under my eyes, I'm gonna use the Scott Barnes Pressed Powder in Petal. I think it's sold out right now. Another kind of similar option would be the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder. Those are great, but they're a little bit more creamy, a little thicker than the Scott Barnes. And then a similar option is the Dragon Beauty Duos. I use these more so for touch-ups, but you can also use this to powder the center of your face. So I'm gonna go in with the Scott Barnes because that's my preferred kind of powder. And I'm just gonna use my beauty blender and kind of stamp it under the eye. I'm not necessarily gonna bake, but I'm gonna use a little bit more than just a dusting. I have combo skin, and I found that foundation feels best and wears best when I do powder it. I like to do some tricks afterwards to counteract that powder look, which you'll see kind of when we move forward, but I do have to powder. I'm not one of those people that can't powder. When I see people not setting, I'm like, what? I could never. So first you wanna kind of get the creases out before you go in with this powder. And I just have some powder on my beauty blender, and I'm just going to press it in to the skin. And I do like to take this down to the T-zone where, again, I get the most oily. To set the perimeter of my face, I'm gonna go in with the Jeffree Star powder. I have the shade Fair. I like this because it's a thin formula, it's not drying and it's not heavy. So I'm just using a fluffier brush. So I zoomed you guys in, and I'm gonna start working on the brows. Brows are my least favorite thing to do. I've even had my eyebrows microbladed, and in everyday life or when I'm not wearing makeup, it definitely has helped me. And it helps me with an outline of the brows, but my hair is still so light, and when I put on a full coverage foundation, it kind of covers my brows. So it is a process. I wish I could just put a brow gel in, but that's just not the cards I was dealt. So I'm gonna start off with this Brow Endowed from Urban Decay. I like to go in with the primer side, which is kind of like a clear, I guess it has a white cast to it. And I like to brush my brows up before I start filling them in. It just makes them look thicker than they are. I haven't had them microbladed probably in a year, and you kind of want to keep up with it and do like a touch up every single year. It just depends on how much you're in the sun and how it kind of wears on you. Mine kind of stick around pretty well. So to start filling in my brows, I like to underline them with a brow pencil. I use the Benefit Precisely My Brow 3.5, and I like to put a line kind of right under. That gives me kind of a guideline. All of the hairs right here, there's no hair. It's just microblading. My brows, I don't know why, but they're like completely distant. I'm like, excuse me. So I literally had like so much room in between, so we had to kind of bring them in with microblading. So I have no hairs that I could actually just brush kind of a gel through. So I have to fill them in, and this guideline or this line gives me kind of an area so that I know where I should be applying it. I feel like I cannot speak, but I think you get the point. So that's the line that I'm talking about. Just to give me some sort of map on where I need to be placing the product when I start really like filling them in. Now to fill in the actual brow, I use a ton of different products, any kind of dip brow. I use the Anastasia, I also like the Iconic London, but I have been really liking this Maybelline. I have this shade here, Soft Brown, and this is just the Tattoo Studio Brow Pomade. So because my brows are so light, I have to fill in because you can see I still have sparseness in quite a few areas. So I take any brow brush that I have and I like to fill in starting at the bottom and kind of flicking it up. I want the most pigment close to where I put that line because that's where I have kind of... Did you hear that? Okay, that like scared the crap out of me. It was like right outside. I don't know what's going on there, but I think they sped away. So, sir, I'm gonna need you to calm the F down, whoever that is. That like scared the crap out of me. So anyways, I'm going to fill this in, just like I said, starting at the base and then kind of flicking up. So it's gonna look something like this. So I'll do that on both sides. I feel like my brows are so much work. It's like, I am so, like I literally can't even tell you how incredibly jealous I am of people that just throw on a brow gel. It literally would save me like 10 minutes, maybe even 15 every time. Okay, so once I have kind of the shape that I'm looking for, I'm gonna fill in the tail with the brow pencil. You guys, it's so hot in here. I have the air on 68. So to finish off my brows, I do the inside little hair-like strokes with the Benefit. Okay, so my brows are done. They're not perfect, but you know what? That's the hardest thing, seriously, that I do. Some days when I have a good brow day, I'm like praising the Lord above. Most days, we're just settling. So for the eyes, I'm gonna start in with this 39S palette from Morphe. I've really been liking this. This is a purple palette. I don't think I'm gonna go crazy purple today. I'm gonna try to keep it, wow, this is huge. I'm gonna try to keep it, you know, kind of in like the browny purple. So I'm gonna start off up here with this shade and we're gonna start blowing this out in the crease. So I'm just gonna start blending this in the crease. As I've gotten kind of older, I feel like when I do full glam, a lot of the time I'm more into lashes and skin and highlight, stuff like that, rather than doing like a cut crease. So this eye look isn't really gonna be super difficult to do. So next I'm gonna go into this deeper brown shade. I'm using a little bit of a smaller brush. This is a Wayne Goss 17. And I'm just gonna try to deepen up this outer portion and then you can kind of sweep it through very lightly. I'm not trying to go super deep. I feel like almost recently I love like matte eyeshadow and then you can kind of use glitters or shimmers or something on your inner corner or on your lower lash line to really make things pop. So now I'm gonna hop into this kind of cranberry shade. And again, I'm just using this to add a little bit of color on the outer part of the eye. Just so you have a little bit of color. I really like purples, pinks. Just to kind of jazz up a look that might be just like kind of bronze. I find that this adds a little bit of a extra flair to it. So I'm gonna take a little bit of liner and try to smudge it on my top lash line. I'm gonna use this gel eyeliner from Mosquito. It's just black. I'm gonna see if I can stay in frame on this because I have to get close to the mirror. And then to deepen any further, I'm going in with this black from the palette. So I'm just using the tiniest amount right here. Just on that outer edge. So for lashes, I'm gonna use these huge lashes. I love these when I want full glam. These are from Lashaholics. I will link them down below. But these are called Ellie Deluxe and they are so big and fluffy. Okay, lashes are on. I told you guys I was not playing with the lashes. I am obsessed with these when you want just like crazy glam. These are about as big as I'll go, but once we have like the hair and the lips and everything done, they look really good. So moving into the lower lash line, I'm gonna go up to this deep shade again. And I'm gonna use that flat definer and really focus this right on the lash line. This probably still has a little bit of that black liner in it, but that's okay. And next I'm gonna go into this kind of pinky shade and I'm gonna use this to smoke this out. Okay, so we're gonna jump back into the face for now. I'll do some finishing touches on the eyes later, but I'm gonna go in with Benefit Hoola, just the original, and I'm gonna use this to contour. To bronze, I'm gonna use one of my favorites. This is Fenty Beauty Private Island. I love these bronzers. So I'm gonna use this to really warm up the skin, even though I'm pretty tan right now. Just so we have some dimension, because I feel like it can look a little bit flat when you have such a full coverage foundation. I'm curious to know, how long do you guys take to get ready? Let's say every day, how much time do you kind of give yourself? And then how much time do you give yourself if you're going out, like out? I would say every day I probably spend 20 minutes. When I'm going out, oh, I can spend like 2 hours. That's including hair though. Hair is like really time consuming. For blush today, I want to go with something a little bit more neutral. Usually I like a really baby pink blush, but I'm going to go in with this Seychelles from Buxom. This is a really nice kind of bronzy color. Now that I'm looking at this, I want a little bit more pink. I'm going in with Dollface from Tarte. Okay, so to finish off my eyes, I'm gonna go into this Marc Jacobs Glitter Bug Liner. This is just a brown liner with some shimmer in it. And then a little trick I like to do to really make my eyes pop when I don't have any shimmers on there, I'm going in with this heavy metal glitter. This is in Junk Show from Urban Decay, and I like to apply a little bit under my lower lash line right in the center. So I actually took a little bit on the back of my hand and I'm taking a tiny brush. You always want to do this before your mascara. You can also use the little applicator because it's nice and fine, but sometimes I feel like I get a lot on my lashes and they kind of become crunchy. So you just kind of want to apply it like that. You can go heavy or light, whatever you prefer. And it just brings a little bit of sparkle to your look without having to do, you know, a really shimmery color on the lid or anything like that. And then I'm also going to take a tiny bit of the shade Grind, which is a light pink, and apply this on the lower lash line right here. Also going to use this brush to contour the nose. Okay, so before we highlight and do lips, I'm going back into my Scott Barnes powder. And I really like to apply this to the sides of my nose heavily to really pinch in where I contoured. You can also apply some underneath your contour. For highlighter, I'm going into my Dior Backstage palette. I have used this so much. I do like to spray my brush just to get it a little bit damp. I just feel like it really intensifies the highlight. So I'm going to go into the gold shade here with a little bit of that white, but mostly this gold. This is the one I use the most. And then I'm actually going to top it with this Kylie Loose Pigment Highlighter in Queen. This is stunning. I think she still has a few on her website, but this is one of my favorite Kylie products. It's a pink glittery kind of topper. And then I'm also going down the center of my nose with that Dior. And then on the tip. So now I'm going to wipe away that powder. I just use a small brush to kind of stamp it into my skin. Moving on to lips, I love lipstick, lip gloss, anything like that. I'm gonna go in with KKW Beauty Lip Liner in 2. I actually don't love the formula on this. It's a little bit slick for me. I have a hard time controlling it, but the color is so good that I like the way that it blends in. So I am gonna use this today. So let's line our lips. So this shade, I like to fill in the corners and then go in with a brush and kind of blend this in. So if you've been with me for a long time, you know that I love popsicle lips. It's kind of my signature thing. A lot of you have said you don't think I do it anymore, but I actually do. I just don't do it on camera. So what that means is I never, ever, ever am without a lip stain before I put on lipstick. It doesn't matter what color, 100% every day I'm using a lip stain. The 2 that I have been using is the brand Tipsy. You can get this at Ulta, and this is a hot pink. Mine is actually dried out, so I need to get a new one. Then I also have this Forever Kissable lip stain from Ardell. I'm not sure what shade this is. Date Me, which is more of a red. So I'm gonna use the Ardell today just because this one again is dried out. But if you haven't seen me been doing this on camera, just know that I'm doing it off camera. I have kind of changed my style of lips, meaning that I am doing more of a nude lip where I used to do more of a peachy lip, but I'm still doing the popsicle lips, just not as intense. So the way that I do this is I apply it just to the center, like inside of the lips. To be honest, all of my markers are kind of dried out, so I need to get some more. I used to use the Milk Makeup one and they discontinued it, so that's why I have these. For lipstick, I'm gonna go in with a staple. I've gone through multiples of these. This is Mannequin by Jeffree Star. This is just the perfect nude color for me. So I'm just gonna put this in the center because I do have that lip liner that I wanna blend this into. So I'm just gonna take that brush and blend these together. And because I'm a gloss girl at heart, I'm going in with Super Nude from KKW. She has the best lip glosses. The colors are so freaking stunning. This is truly like a super, super nude. And then my final step for full glam is my Farsali Rose Gold Skin Mist. This is so beautiful. It just melts your powders in. Because I do have a matte foundation on, this will give me a little bit more life. Plus it smells so good. Alright guys, here's my finished makeup look, and this is a transformation. Like I said, I'm one of those people that changes so much with makeup, especially like lip products, foundation, lashes. They really make a difference on me. So that's what I love about makeup, is I can do whatever I want. I can go full glam like this, or I can also be super natural. Just do whatever makes you feel beautiful and don't apologize for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I went through a lot of products that I use all the time. Go-to products I know are gonna work for me. I know the lashes are huge. I know the lips are overlined. But honestly, this is what I'm gonna go for if I'm going out and I really wanna kind of show out. So I hope this helped you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.